Hey everybody, I am getting ready to head out to a home inspection this morning, and I thought that it would be a good time. So I'm like going through in my head, it's a listing of mine, so I'm kind of going through in my head some of the issues that might possibly come up. And these are all things that I talk to my sellers about, and obviously buyers, but I will talk to my sellers about these things before, usually when we list the house and when we get a contract and when we are anticipating the home inspection. So there's a few things that real estate agents in particular will worry about. Hey, stop doing that. Sorry, my dog is eating my rug. Don't do that. So here are the things that are not obvious to real estate agents until you really dig literally into them. One of them is the septic system. So the septic inspection is one of those things that we just don't know about until that cover comes off of the tank and you can look at the baffles. You don't really know. Until you dig in the field, you don't really know. It's just one of those things that we can't really put eyes on until we dig. Hey, knock it off. She's not listening. So septic for sure. If the house is older and the septic hasn't been replaced, or if the house isn't necessarily older but has a lot of people using it, or if there's been a lot of soap put into the septic system or grease, those are all things that can affect it, and those are all things that we look at. So those are things, that's one thing that I always advise my clients on. If it's an old house, if the septic is original, or if we have a lot of people living in the house, I always say this is something that might come up at the inspection. There's nothing we can do about it. And unfortunately, you know, a 50-year-old house with a brand new septic and a 50-year-old house with a 50-year-old septic, they're basically worth the same as long as the 50-year-old septic is working. But if you have to replace your septic system, you can't add that to the value of your house. You know, if you just replaced your septic system and you have a $250,000 house, you can't add that $8,000 to the value of your house. It's just assumed that you're going to have a house that has potable water and, you know, waste refuse disposal. So that's one thing. I touched on another thing, which is the water. That's another thing that we just don't know until it goes to a facility and is tested. We have no idea what's going on with your water. If you don't have your well water tested every year, it's just a good idea to get it tested because you can have bacteria in there that's very easy to mitigate, but can affect your water quality. So water, septic, the attic, mold in the attic, oh my gosh, how many times does that come up? It comes up constantly. What happens is people just don't go up in their attics, and your roof is made to breathe. So you have generally a ridge vent up at the top, you have soffit vents at the bottom, or you have gable vents on the ends, and all of that is supposed to keep the sheathing of your roof dry and cool. What can happen is people go up and put insulation in themselves, or insulation gets moved around in the attic, and it can clog those soffit vents. And when you clog venting in your attic, you just invite heat and moisture up there. And so without that airflow, you get mold, basically, or we call it discoloration. Until it's tested and proven that it's mold, it's discoloration. So that's another thing. If people haven't been up into their attic lately, if they've had work done to it or done work to it themselves, we see this pretty often, and that's one of those things that sometimes we can't get our heads up there, but an inspector is going to go up there, they're going to see, and it's another one of those, could be a high dollar fix to have mold mitigated. Could be a high dollar fix to have a septic system redone, and also to have water mitigation. I'm trying to think of what else comes up that it's like the stuff that scares real estate agents. And not that we're scared of it, but these are the things that are unpredictable. If I go into a house and I see a crack in the foundation, or if I see a cement block, cinder block foundation, I can tell my homeowner, here's an issue, it's going to come up, blah blah blah. But I can't predict septic well. Oh, I know the other one that I was going to say is radon. Radon is a colorless, odorless gas. It's found in the air. In New England, we have places that have higher concentrations of it. It is a byproduct of granite. I think when the granite disintegrates, it releases radon gas. Now, so that percolates up through the earth, and it can come up into your basement, and it kind of tends to get trapped there and then filters up. It is I believe it's a known carcinogen. I know that some people take it very, very seriously. Some people don't take it seriously at all. Regardless, if you haven't had your property tested for radon air, a buyer is probably going to have that done and request a mitigation system if it comes in high. A mitigation system for radon is $1,200 to $1,400. It's small beans compared to a transaction, but it's something that I wouldn't say we worry about, but it's another one of these things. Can't predict it because you can't smell it, can't see it. The only way to figure it out is to test for it. So those are the 4 things that scare real estate agents about home inspections. If you're considering selling your home or looking for a property and want a market analysis done, please feel free to send me a message right on here. You can send me a message on my phone also, obviously, 207-251-9535. I will be at an open house for a rental this morning into afternoon, so 11 to 1 at 20 Rochester Street in Berwick. Even if you want to interview me as a real estate agent, it's a great time. Excuse me, it's a great time to do that. So I'm headed out now to go do that, but y'all have a great day and feel free to shoot me a message.